Alright, so I'm going to make a short YouTube video here. 96 Jetta. It's my son's car. And had a coolant leak. And he'd add coolant and it would leak still and get hot. Turns out the steel line here has this stupid plastic clip on it. And that clip has a little hole there and it orients over top of this peg. Well, this clip over time wears a hole into the steel line, and that's where it was leaking out. So we, it was like, I don't know, 15, 20 degrees last night. Comes home 11 o'clock at night, trying to take his friend home, and so we're up till 1 o'clock in the morning getting it patched. I cleaned it off, sanded it down to clean metal, and there was still coolant in this line. It would not come out. It would constantly weep out of this hole, so anytime you tried to put JB Weld on it, it wouldn't stick. So what I had to do was I got my air gun, put a rag and put pressure into this, and it would come out the hole, and it filled about half of that, put it under the car, filled it with coolant, had to blow on that for about 10 minutes to get the level down in here low enough to where it would stay dry. So I spray it with starting fluid to get it really clean, wipe it off with a clean rag, sand it a little more, just double check, and then I have a small hand torch. I would lightly warm that up so it was, make sure it was nice and dry. Well, we end up putting JB Weld on it, the JB Weld Quick. I told him as long as you have it's clean and it's dry, it should stick, you know, and warm enough. So we got that figured out, and then we put coolant in here. Unfortunately, previous owner put green in it. So here, when we get a warm spell, we're going to convert it back over to the VW, probably the pink or the purple stuff. But for right now, we're just using green to get us by. It's like 5 degrees today, of course. That's when stuff breaks down on you. We couldn't get it bled or burped. The hose was really, really hot, and it would be cold air coming out the vents. Nothing but cold air. So we had air trapped in there somewhere. So today we come out, squeezed on this hose, squeezed on this one for the heater core. This is the, I think the incoming. This is the outgoing because it's a little cooler. It's not as warm as this one coming off the motor. Squeezed all those. Squeezed a little bit on the one down below. Squeezed on this little branch off right here. And it just, still nothing. Cold air coming out of the vents. And this was really hot. So the gauge started climbing, and it was getting, the gauge was getting one mark off past half and between halfway and 230 degrees. So, and you know, ice cold coming out of the vents. So that wasn't working. So I shut it off, and then I backed this cap off about halfway till it started boiling and, you know, violently bubbling and whatnot. So I cracked it and vented it just enough to let the air out, but with a minimal amount of coolant spilling out, so I don't be leaking coolant everywhere. It's not cheap, but we did that once or twice, and it finally got most of the air bubbles out, or enough of them, that the thermostat opened up, the gauge went back down, and hung around about 170 for a while. Now, so we have the Trek edition, 96 Trek Jetta. Oh yeah, that's nice and warm. And the gauge is staying right there. It hasn't really come up from, it's probably 170, 180, right in there. So I think that finally did it. was getting worried because it's going to get colder here the next couple of days, really cold, and he needs his car. So if you don't have a mighty vac pump, you can squeeze on all these hoses, pour a little in here. If it gets hot, shut the car off, back this off until it starts bubbling and venting, and that seemed to vent the excess air out of there. Now we just filled it back up to the proper level, tightened it back up, and it's working good. So we were really getting frustrated with this stinking German engineering, a sealed system. It's like all the American stuff we got sitting here. It's easy. You pop the cap on top of the radiator and you just let it bubble and vent. This thing, the Germans had to do it better by making it twice as hard. Unless you got a shop and the proper vacuum tool. So this is how we did it in the driveway, about 10 degrees. So I hope this helps somebody.